All right. Welcome back for another deep dive.
Always great to be back.
This time, we're really diving into something I think you've been digging into digital language learning materials.
Oh, for sure.
You sent over a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
A whole chapter from that book, Developing Digital Language Learning Materials,
Uh-huh.
and a bunch of articles.
Yep.
You even sent over some of your own notes, which I love.
Oh, yeah. I had some thoughts.
So we're really going to try to figure out how technology is changing the world of language learning.
It really is. I mean, the landscape is changing so fast.
Right.
Even before 2020, digital language learning was becoming more popular, but the pandemic,
Yeah.
it just accelerated everything.
It's like somebody just hit fast forward on everything.
Yeah, totally.
You made me think about that Bill Gates quote from a few years ago,
Oh, yeah?
where he said, pretty soon textbooks will be a thing of the past.
Right.
Do you think he's right? I mean, what does that even look like for language learning?
Well, I think that shift away from just textbooks was already happening.
Yeah.
And the pandemic just made it happen way faster.
Yeah.
Teachers had to figure out how to use digital tools. And a lot of teachers realized, hey, these tools are really good. They can be way more engaging.
Yeah. All those teachers all over the world,
Yeah.
from Thailand
Yeah.
to Brazil
Uh-huh.
to Spain,
Yeah.
they had to become tech experts almost overnight.
It's true. They became these accidental innovators. It was amazing to see.
Yeah.
Sharing all their lesson plans online, creating online activities,
Right.
figuring out how to teach languages in this totally new digital environment.
And it wasn't just like putting a textbook on a screen.
Exactly.
They were coming up with brand new ways
Yeah.
to use digital tools to teach.
Yeah,
So it feels like there were these different phases.
Yeah.
First, everybody had to figure out how to teach online.
that's right.
Then came this like explosion of creativity,
Yep.
all these new ideas.
Sure.
And now it seems like we're in this phase where everyone's stepping back
Uh-huh.
and trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this work long term?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where these frameworks come in,
Okay.
like the Popovsky principles for materials writing and the Mavridi digital literacies framework.
Okay.
They help us think about how to create and evaluate digital learning materials.
So they're not just techie for the sake of being techie,
Exactly.
but they're actually helping people learn.
That's the goal.
Okay. Let's break down those frameworks a little because I have to admit,
Yeah.
I mean, they sound a little
A
intimidating.
little jargony.
Yeah. What are some of the key takeaways?
Well, in the Popovsky principles, he talks about things like encouraging creativity in learners,
Okay.
making sure the materials are engaging, making sure they're relevant, and raising awareness about different cultures.
Okay.
These ideas have always been important for language teachers,
Right.
but now we have all these new digital tools that make it easier to do this.
So instead of just reading about a different culture in a textbook,
Yeah.
learners can use digital tools to actually connect with people from
Right.
that culture.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
And what about Mavridi's framework? What kind of digital skills are we talking about there?
Yeah. So Mavridi is really focused on those digital literacies
Okay.
that learners need to thrive in this new digital landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So things like thinking critically about online information,
Yeah.
working with others in digital spaces,
Mhm.
even just being aware of your digital footprint and online safety.
So it's not just about learning the language.
Exactly.
It's about learning how to navigate the whole digital world.
Exactly. These digital literacies are just as important now as traditional literacy skills.
Wow. Thinking about your own experiences learning languages,
Yeah.
do any of these principles or digital skills really stand out to you?
You know, I think it all comes down to finding that balance
Okay.
between technology and human interaction. I mean, digital tools can be super powerful,
For sure.
but they shouldn't replace actually connecting with other people in the language you're learning.
Totally. And speaking of powerful forces in language learning,
Yeah.
we can't forget about those big publishing companies.
Yeah.
They've been around forever,
Right.
and now they have to adapt to all these digital changes too.
Absolutely. And they are taking it seriously. I remember reading a quote from the CEO of Pearson, one of the big textbook publishers.
Right.
And he basically said, the future of learning is digital. We're all in.
Right.
They're investing a ton of money in digital materials and platforms.
Right.
They see how big this market is.
Yeah, but it can't be easy for them. Right?
No.
They can't just take their old textbooks and put them online.
No.
You have to create new content,
Mm.
make it engaging and accessible for learners who might not have great internet.
It's a huge challenge. And it's
Yeah.
not just about like copying and pasting old content into a digital format.
Right.
It's about coming up with totally new types of learning experiences that use all the things digital technology can do.
Yeah.
And they are doing some really cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, like National Geographic Learning,
Right.
they're part of Cengage now.
Mm-hmm.
They've teamed up with TED to create language learning materials that use real TED Talks.
Oh, wow.
Which is great because it exposes learners to real-world language and ideas.
It's like a much more authentic way to learn.
Exactly.
So cool. What else?
Well, then you have publishers like Oxford University Press.
Yeah.
They're developing these adaptive learning platforms.
Mm.
So the platform actually adjusts to each learner's pace and needs.
Oh.
It can give you personalized feedback and exercises.
It's like having your own personal tutor.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It is. And Cambridge University Press is doing a lot with gamification.
Oh, yeah. Gamification. That's cool.
Yeah. They're adding game-like elements to their materials.
Makes it more fun.
Right. It's all about keeping learners engaged and motivated.
It seems like all the big companies are really trying new things.
They have to.
Yeah. And speaking of trying new things,
Yeah.
we can't forget about all the amazing teachers creating their own digital materials.
Absolutely.
The pandemic really forced them to become tech experts.
It did.
And they've come up with some incredible solutions.
It's really remarkable how teachers have embraced this shift to digital learning.
It's like they were thrown into the deep end.
Yeah.
And they not only had to learn how to use all this technology,
Right.
but they had to figure out how to actually teach with it,
That's the key.
which is where these frameworks like TPACK come in.
Oh, yes. TPAC.
Yeah.
Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge.
A mouthful.
Right. It's basically a way for teachers to think about how to blend their knowledge about their subject
Okay.
with their teaching skills and their understanding of technology
Right.
to create really effective learning experiences.
So it's not just knowing how to use a specific tool.
Exactly.
It's about understanding how that tool can help students learn.
It's a lot to juggle.
It sounds like it.
It is.
And I've read that a lot of teachers still feel like they don't have enough training
Oh,
to
absolutely.
really use technology effectively.
Yeah. It's so important that we give teachers the support and training they need.
For sure. So from your perspective as a language learner,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about all those teacher-created digital materials?
You know, it's really a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Some of them are absolutely brilliant and engaging. Others, it's clear they were just thrown together because teachers had to do something.
Yeah.
But even the ones that aren't perfect, it's inspiring to see teachers experimenting and trying new things.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's all about trying and seeing what works.
Exactly.
So let's dive into some specific examples
Okay. Yeah.
of teacher-created tools that are being used for language learning.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's start with Edpuzzle,
Okay.
which lets teachers make videos interactive
Yeah.
by embedding questions and comments, and you can even add audio notes.
Right.
I've seen some really creative lessons using Edpuzzle.
Yeah, me too.
It makes even just watching a video a more active experience.
And it keeps students accountable.
Yeah.
They have to actually engage with the material.
Exactly. And then there's Flipgrid.
Oh, Flipgrid.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of language learning tools.
It really is.
Teachers can use it for pretty much anything,
Yeah.
from having students record video responses
Mm-hmm.
to creating these big collaborative projects, even virtual debates.
It's super versatile.
I love Flipgrid.
Me too.
It gives students so many different ways to use their voices,
Yeah.
to share their ideas in really creative ways.
It's great.
And if you're looking for good video content,
Yeah.
EdTED is a fantastic resource.
Oh, for sure.
It's like a giant library of TED Talks
Uh-huh.
with transcripts and quizzes and discussion questions.
It's a gold mine.
I've used it myself to work on my listening skills
Yeah.
and to learn about new topics in my target language.
That's a great way to do that.
It is. And then you have tools like Plot Generator, which could be used for creative writing,
Uh-huh.
and Parlay to facilitate deeper discussions.
Right.
These tools can really help learners take their language skills to the next level.
They can.
Oh. And I really like ClearSketch.
Yeah.
It lets learners use visuals to help them learn the language.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's Vocaroo. It's a simple but powerful tool for recording audio.
It is.
It's great for practicing pronunciation and fluency.
Absolutely.
Oh. And don't forget about Jeopardy Labs.
Oh, yes.
You can create your own Jeopardy games to review vocab and grammar.
It's fun.
I love how all these tools are giving learners more control over their learning.
It's true. It's a real shift away from that traditional model where the teacher is the one with all the knowledge.
Right. And the student is just sitting there listening.
Exactly.
Now it's more about collaboration and co-creation.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher's more like a guide.
Yeah.
But the learners are the ones driving their own learning.
Exactly.
And we're seeing this shift in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like the rise of mobile learning.
Oh, yeah. And learn.
Where you can access language learning resources anytime, anywhere on your phone.
It's amazing.
Right. Technology is breaking down all those barriers.
It is.
Making language learning way more accessible.
It really is.
And then there's the flipped classroom.
Yeah.
Where learners watch lectures online at home.
Uh-huh.
And then come to class ready to practice and do more interactive activities.
Right.
I'm really intrigued by the flipped classroom.
Yeah.
It seems like a really effective way to make the most of that face-to-face time in class.
It can be.
Have you ever tried it yourself?
I haven't personally experienced a flipped classroom setting.
Yeah.
But I have read a lot about the potential benefits, especially for language learners.
Right.
It lets people learn at their own pace outside of class.
Okay.
Which can be really empowering.
Yeah.
And then they can come to class ready to use what they learned.
Yeah. It's all about making learning more learner-centered.
Exactly. It really can. And it makes class time more about practicing and using the language.
Right. And it makes you think about shifting power dynamics in learning. Like with artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
AI. I mean, it's changing everything.
It really is.
And language learning is no exception.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's kind of mind-blowing, to be honest.
It is. It really is.
I mean, I'm a bit of a sci-fi geek.
Oh, yeah.
So this whole AI thing, it's exciting, but it's also a little scary.
I get that. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It feels like we're living in the future.
In some ways we are. But the AI we're talking about today, it's not like those super advanced robots you see in the movies.
Okay. So no robot teachers taking over the classroom just yet.
Not quite. But AI is already being used in language learning.
Really?
In lots of ways. Sometimes we don't even realize it's there. It's kind of working behind the scenes.
Give me an example.
Sure. One area where AI is making a big difference is corpus linguistics.
Okay. Now, corpus linguistics, remind me what that is again?
It's basically using massive amounts of language data.
Right. Like text and speech recordings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And AI can analyze all that data to find patterns and insights that humans might miss.
So we're not just relying on intuition or traditional grammar rules anymore.
Exactly.
We're using data to understand how people actually use language in the real world.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then all that data can be used to create better learning materials.
Yeah.
More accurate language tests.
Right.
Even better machine translation.
It really can.
It's amazing to think about how much AI is already influencing how we learn languages.
Yeah. And it's just getting started.
What about personalized learning?
Oh, that's a big one.
I mean, the idea of having a learning program that's tailored to your individual needs. That sounds like a dream come true.
It is a really exciting area. I mean, imagine having this AI tutor that can track your progress, figure out what you're good at and what you need to work on.
Yeah.
Give you personalized feedback and exercises, all in real time.
Wow. So it would be like having a language coach available 24/7.
Pretty much.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But I know some people are a little worried about AI and education.
Right.
Like, what are your thoughts on those concerns?
Well, I think it's good to be cautious and think critically about AI.
Okay.
It has a lot of potential, but we need to be aware of the limitations.
Yeah.
And there are potential downsides too.
One of the big concerns I hear is about bias.
Yeah.
Like, if the data that's used to train AI is biased, then the AI could be biased too.
Absolutely. That's a huge concern and something that developers and educators need to be really careful about.
Yeah.
We have to make sure the data that's being used to train AI is diverse.
Right.
And that it represents all kinds of learners.
And then there's the concern that AI could make learning less human.
Yeah, that's a big one for me too.
Yeah. I mean, language learning is about connecting with other people and cultures.
It is.
And if we rely too much on technology, we might lose some of that human connection.
Exactly. I think it's all about balance.
Right.
We can use AI to make learning better and more personalized.
Yeah.
But we should never lose sight of those human interactions that are so important.
So AI is more like a partner in the learning process.
That's a good way to put it.
Not a replacement for teachers or human interaction.
Exactly. AI can do some things really well.
Yeah.
Like grading assignments or giving basic feedback. That frees up teachers to do more creative and interactive things with their students.
I like that. It's about using the strengths of both humans and machines to create the best learning environment.
Exactly. And that's where human-centered design is so important.
Right. So when we're designing AI tools for language learning, we have to make sure they're designed with the needs of the learners and the teachers in mind.
Absolutely. And that means collaboration.
Yeah.
Between educators, developers, and linguists.
It sounds like we're just starting to explore the potential of AI in language learning.
We are. It's still early days.
What are some of the things you're most excited to see happen in this field in the coming years?
You know, one of the most exciting areas for me is natural language processing.
NLP. Okay, remind me what that is.
It's a part of AI that focuses on helping computers understand and process human language.
So like helping computers think more like humans when it comes to language.
Exactly. And as NLP gets better, we can expect to see even more personalized and adaptive language learning tools.
Cool.
And even more sophisticated chatbots and virtual assistants.
Wow, so the future of language learning with AI is looking pretty bright.
It is, but we have to remember there are still challenges.
Right. We can't get too carried away with all the hype.
Exactly. We have to be realistic about the limitations of AI, and we have to be really thoughtful about the ethical implications.
Right.
Like you said before about data privacy and bias.
Yeah, those are big issues, and AI raises some really big questions.
It does.
About the future of work, education, even just what it means to be human.
We have to keep asking those questions.
This whole conversation about AI has really got me thinking about the future of language learning.
Me too. It's both exciting and a little scary.
It is.
But I think the most important thing to remember is that the human element will always be at the heart of language learning.
It's that passion, that curiosity, that drive to connect with others that really makes language learning special.
You said it perfectly.
To all our listeners out there.
Yes.
No matter what tools or technologies you're using, don't forget to enjoy the journey of language learning.
That's the most important thing.
Embrace the challenges, have fun exploring, experiment.
Yeah.
The world is waiting to hear you speak.
And that's a good place to take a break.
Okay, we'll be back in a minute to wrap things up.
Welcome back. We've been talking all about digital language learning materials.
It's been a great conversation.
It has. And I'm still thinking about all that stuff we talked about with AI.
Yeah, AI is definitely changing the game.
It really is.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's still early days.
It is. We're just starting to see what AI can do in education.
It feels like we're on the verge of something really big.
Yeah, I think so too. The way we teach and learn languages is going to look very different in the future.
And AI could be a big part of making language learning better for everyone.
Absolutely. One thing I'm really excited about is how AI can help us create more personalized learning experiences.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because everyone learns differently.
Right.
And at their own pace.
And traditional classrooms don't always do a great job of accommodating that.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
But AI can help us create learning experiences that are tailored to each individual.
So instead of one size fits all.
Exactly.
It's more like custom-made language learning. Imagine having a personal language learning assistant.
Yeah.
Powered by AI.
Wow.
That could adapt to your needs, give you feedback, suggest resources just for you.
That's amazing.
It is.
And what about learning analytics? I keep hearing that term.
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of this whole personalized learning thing.
Okay.
Learning analytics is basically collecting data about how learners are interacting with the materials.
Okay.
And then using that data to understand how they're learning.
So it's not just about test scores anymore.
Right. We can use data to get a much deeper understanding of how each learner is progressing.
And AI can help us make sense of all that data.
Exactly. AI algorithms can analyze that data and find patterns, identify areas where learners might be struggling, things like that.
That's really powerful. But what about privacy?
That's a really important question.
Yeah, if we're collecting all this data about learners,
yeah,
we have to make sure we're using it responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. We need clear guidelines.
Yeah.
And safeguards.
To protect learner data.
And learners need to know how their data is being used.
Right, and have control over their privacy.
Exactly. And the AI systems themselves need to be designed in a way that's fair.
Right.
And unbiased.
So there's a lot to think about here.
There is.
But it's good that these conversations are happening.
Oh, absolutely. It's crucial that we're having these discussions about ethics.
Yeah, and that we're thinking about the potential downsides of AI.
Because technology should always be used to empower learners.
Right.
Not to control them or limit their opportunities.
So in the end,
yeah,
it's about using technology to create better, more human-centered learning experiences.
Exactly. Experiences that foster creativity and collaboration.
Yeah.
And a real love of language.
What do you think the future holds for digital language learning? What are you most excited about?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm really excited to see how AI can be used to create truly personalized learning experiences.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's about moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to language learning.
Exactly. I'm also curious to see how AI might change language assessment.
Ooh, yeah. Language tests.
Can we move beyond those standardized tests
Right.
and create better ways to measure how well someone knows a language?
I think that's a great area for AI to make a real difference.
I agree.
So maybe the future of language learning is about understanding that there's no one right way to know a language.
I love that.
This has been a fantastic conversation.
I've really enjoyed it.
I've learned so much from you today.
Likewise.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into digital language learning.
It was a pleasure being here.
I hope you'll keep exploring this topic.
Oh, absolutely. It's constantly changing and evolving.
And maybe, just maybe, the future of language learning is one where technology helps us connect with each other.
And with the world, in more meaningful ways.
That's a great thought to leave our listeners with.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for listening, everybody.